Okay, hello again, everybody. Good morning, good evening, wherever you're at. Thanks again for joining to our community demo of the 5.0 LTS release. We're going to start now the session. We just before we start the demo, I'll point out a few kind of momentum points about Oro as we finished 2021. And then we'll go right into the demo. The demo will be led by Michael Besselov, our VP of Engineering. But before we start, I would like to give Yoav Kutner here a few times to address all of you. And Yoav, take it away.
Thank you, Moti. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us and seeing what we've been working on for the latest stable release of Oro. It's been a lot of work that we put into this, and we're very, very excited and proud in our latest version. I just want to address one point. A lot of you reached out to us during the last few days with concern for some of our team that's located in Ukraine. We made sure to get most of our team out of harm's way, and we are continuing operations almost as usual already. So thank you for everybody that reached out and with concerns. Our team are safe at the moment, and we are continuing to operate as a company. With that, I'm really excited about the demo and sharing with you everything we worked on. And if there's any questions, we'll be here to address them. With that, I'll kick it back to Moti. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yoav. We're going to start. Again, if people have questions, you can use the Q&A or raise your hand and ask questions. We will try to answer all questions in this session. If not, we will respond back to the questions via email. And obviously, you can feel free to contact us at any time with any questions that you might have. As far as the agenda today, and be short and to the point, we'll just discuss a few points about Oro momentum. We'll go to the demo, and then Michael will also discuss our roadmap. Let's go to the next slide. Last year started very strong for us in many ways. We'll discuss it, but it was obviously very rewarding to see that Gartner, one of the major analysts in the market, ranked Oro as the #1 B2B digital commerce in their critical commerce capability report. Obviously, this is another point that says that we are on the right track, that we are building the right solution. We are not by any means perfect, but we continue to innovate and push on, and some of the things that we develop, you'll see today. Next slide. Also, we were recognized as a marketplace solution best fitted to mid-market manufacturers. This is by Forrester. Today's demo will focus on the OroCommerce release. As you all might know, we have the Oro marketplace that it's built on OroCommerce, and we released some modules that are specifically to the OroCommerce, to the Oro marketplace. We will not discuss them today. There will be another community webinar on the marketplace for April, and invitation for this will go out soon. So today we're focusing on the OroCommerce release. Last year was a very good year for Oro. What you see here is a sample of some of the great customers that we are very fortunate to bring to the Oro family. Last year we saw almost a 90% growth in licenses. So that was a great year for us, and this year we are also on the right track to continue and grow and expand our community. So it's great to see that we continue to move forward and grow. We also added partners to our ecosystem. This is again just a a sample of partners, solution integrators, and some technology partners that we added to the system, to the ecosystem. Sorry, we always, want to add and bring on to our community solution integrators that have the expertise in B2B digital commerce and technology solution that augment the experience. And we'll continue to do that as we are focusing on the commerce experience, but we're very well aware that we need the right partners to work with us and our partners, and the right augmenting technology to provide a full experience to our customers. As you all know, our focus is B2B digital commerce. There are a lot of capabilities and features that are geared towards this segment to serve the B2B digital commerce. Some of you might be familiar with OroCommerce more than others. There are a lot of features and capabilities that are available in the system. Today, we focus only on the new things that we released in long-term support release. But if you have any questions about OroCommerce, the capabilities, the platform that we build, that focusing on different use cases for B2B digital commerce, please don't hesitate to contact us through the website, through our teams in different offices around the world. We will be more than happy to answer and provide any questions that you might have. But again, today we are focusing on what we released in the long-term support release back in January, and what we are focusing as far as our roadmap for this year. And now I'll give it to Michael to start the demo of the 5.0 long-term support release. Michael.
Thank you, Moti, and hello everyone. So this release includes actually a long list of the features and improvements that we've made to OroCommerce. And today on the demo, I would like to focus on some of the new features that I'm mostly excited about, and hope you will be excited about them as well. So the first thing that I want to start with is a number of improvements to the storefront and overall performance of the application that our team made. And this year we have been focused on two things. One of them was the improvements of the overall performance, like server-side performance of the application, to allow to essentially application behave better under a larger load. And the second topic for our focus was focus on the Google Web Vital metrics. And not to go much into the kind of the technical details, kind of a short summary is essentially that last year Google launched a new initiative, and they say that these specific metrics that they call Google Web Vitals, which are focused not only on the how much time it takes to load the page, but also on how soon the page becomes interactive after it's being loaded. So basically they say that these metrics will impact the scoring in the Google search results of the websites based on assessment of Google of the website performance using this essentially this number of metrics. So what we did this year, we ran our testing using the tools provided by Google, like Lightspeed, Google Page Speed, and so on. And our team worked on improving the metrics across a number of essentially on the scale. So one example of those improvements would be the so-called performance, accessibility, best practices, and SEO metrics, which are which Google scores ranging from 1 to 100. And even though we were actually quite high, even in the previous version of OroCommerce, we still made a number of improvements across both desktop and mobile version of OroCommerce to essentially bring us into the green zone everywhere and to rank as high as possible on that. So we made a number of improvements to help to score better for the homepage, for the product listing, product view pages, and landing pages. Essentially the pages that are usually taken by the Google, shown in the Google search results, and obviously assessed by Google when they are talking about assessment of the website performance. Also, we did a number of optimizations that would help front-end developers that are working on the project implementations for our customers as well. So we've made a number of optimizations to the JavaScript and CSS build process, which allowed us to reduce the overall size of JavaScript CSS assets by 30%. And we've also introduced a configuration that allows front-end developers to build assets only for specific custom themes that they want, which essentially allowed to reduce the asset build time by more than 50%. So essentially, it now takes 2 times faster to build those assets when they're working on the storefront and customizations. Then another topic related to the storefront and improvements this year that we worked on was the continued improvement of the accessibility of the application. So essentially, we are making sure that all components of the OroCommerce storefront are accessible and can be used by people with help of various assistive devices and so on. And one of those and actually, it includes a number of improvements across multiple components, but today on the demo, I want to show you only one, which is essentially data grid accessibility and keyboard navigation. And let me just start a small utility application that will help me to visualize my keystrokes as I make them. So essentially, as you can see, once the user arrives at any page of the OroCommerce storefront, and they can essentially use this additional function to skip to the main content easily. And now I'm navigating the application just by the keyboard. And once they arrive to the page, they can easily get to the grid itself. And as you can see, all buttons, all sections of the grid, they are accessible by the keyboard. So essentially, I can access any filters, I can access any columns, I can navigate through the grid rows and columns using the arrow keys on the keyboard. I can also do sorting, apply filtering, and essentially I can navigate any grid page using the keyboard as well as any other page in the application. So this was essentially kind of one of the remaining major pieces in regards to the application accessibility on the storefront and in the back office that we've completed past year, actually, to include into this 5.0 LTS release. And just to wrap up the conversation about the improvements to the storefront and performance, one of the new functionalities that we've added this year actually was support for WebP image format. Again, this is based on the recommendations by Google. This is based on how Google does scoring of the website pages. So they essentially rank website pages better if those pages use WebP image format, which according to Google provides significant savings when we're talking about image size reduction and traffic reduction when accessing the website. So I'm not basically talking much about the WebP itself because Google provides a lot of the documentation about that. But what essentially we did in the OroCommerce, we've introduced support for WebP images, and by default, just to maintain compatibility and to prevent any possible issues with old browsers, old mobile devices, and so on. So we are by default have turned on so-called if supported strategy, which essentially means that OroCommerce, once you upload product images, it will generate thumbnails, previews, and basically other resized versions of those images in 2 formats, in WebP and in the original format. And that allows actually a browser for the customer, for the client device, to show the image, whichever one is supported by that specific browser. So browsers, the modern browsers will pick the WebP version of the image to show, and old browsers will essentially ignore the the reference to WebP and will download the image in the original PNG or JPEG format. But if, let's say, based on the web traffic analysis of your website, you see that most of your customers or all of your customers, they are visiting your website storefront and using modern devices. And again, WebP is supported for quite a long time. So you can switch to the for all strategy. And this strategy, basically, it will make sure that the storefront and always uses WebP format to display images, but it will also provide you with some savings on the disk space on the server, because now the application does not need to essentially maintain and store resized images in two different image formats, and now it will use only WebP. And again, just if for any reason, let's say if some of your customers are accessing the system using basically if you're running a specific application for the customers using some old devices and technologies, you can completely disable WebP format support as well. And there is a configuration setting in the system that essentially allows you also to influence the resize quality of WebP. So WebP supports both lossless and lossy so-called compression. It essentially can act both as PNG and JPEG. So it's up to you to choose which way you prefer. Or the default setting that we set is 85%, and it provides very high quality images actually, while also allowing to significantly reduce their size. So another feature that is kind of related to the storefront, and so I've also included it in this section, is a new feature that allows customers of your application to export some product data on the storefront. So this functionality can be controlled through system configuration, and let me do just that. So essentially, as you can see, after I enabled that functionality, and if I refresh this page, now as a customer, I can have this new button which says download product data, and I can initiate that export, and essentially the application will generate a file with exported product data in the background, and it will send an email to the customer user who requested ad, and they will be able to download the file with the results. So this is just a standard product export file, except that by default, we've included only two fields, SKU and name of the product. But you as application administrators, you can control what data is included in that product data export on the storefront. And those settings are obviously separate from the import export settings of the kind of standard back office export. So they are in the front end options. There is a new option for product entity fields and product attributes called exportable in the front end option sections. And for example, here for the inventory status field, if I go and change that, and let's say as a customer user, I initiate the export one more time again. And if I download that file, you will be able to see that actually now this file has changed in the sense that now it has this new additional column with inventory status. So you can control that on the level of the individual fields, product entity fields and product attributes. And also you have additional configuration in the system configuration that allows also to include product price information in the export file and include product price tiers if you want to do so, because by default, product price information and price tiers are also disabled as well. Also, one important note about this functionality for the customers. So in addition to just basically downloading the list of the products on a specific category page, they can also apply a number of filters. So for example, let me filter by, let's say, Acme, and let's do only barcode scanners. So instead of 6, there will be only 2. So if, let's say, customers apply some filters, and if they initiate the export with those filters applied, then they will essentially download the file only with those products that essentially are the result of the search using those applied filters. It's also important to note here that this configuration, it's available on the global configuration level, on the level of specific organization in the OroCommerce back office, on the level of specific website. But also this year, we introduced configuration on the level of individual customer groups and customers. So essentially, when we go to the some customer group page, there is this new configuration button, and same applies to the individual customers. So instead of enabling this functionality for all your customers on specific website, you can do this very specifically, and you can enable that configuration on the level of individual customer if you want to allow them to use this functionality on the level of that specific customer. You can do that for select individual customers or select customer groups. And this is just a kind of first configuration setting that we made exposed on the level of customer configuration or customer group configuration, but there will be more configuration settings coming next year, and also custom configuration settings that your developers are adding during project implementations can be added there, exposed on that level as well. Then the next kind of large.
Yep. Sorry, Michael.
Ahead,
there are some questions related to this, so maybe we can answer some now and then move forward.
Yeah, sure. Let me take a look at the questions. So Robin is asking if this functionality is available only for logged customer. Yes. That's correct. So the functionality is available only for logged customers, and as I've shown, it can actually be restricted only to specific customer groups or specific customers as necessary. Okay, I also see there are some questions in the general chat as well. So there is a question about whether the product export includes attribute data only or also product images. So the answer for now is attribute data only. For the product images, it may require additional customization to allow that. And the other question about whether with this downloadability covers customer groups, yes. So the configuration can be done on the level of the customer groups, if I understood the question correctly. And then there is one more question in regards to this feature: if the product data export is available for shopping list or only search results. So this functionality that I've shown you, it's just product data export in the search, navigation, and so on. It is not export of shopping list. That would be a separate feature that is on our roadmap, but is not available in this release yet. Okay, so seems all questions answered so far, and let me move on to the next area of improvements this year, past year that we did for this latest release. So it was a number of improvements related to search. Search is one of the most important functions of any website, and essentially how efficiently your customers can use your website. It influences a lot their opinion of your website and how inclined are they to continue shopping on it. So one of the features that we've introduced in 5.0 LTS release is ability for the customers to save search. And let me give me a moment. Let me just disable that utility that I used before, so it does not clutter the screen. So saved search. So saved search, again, it's configurable. So this feature can be disabled or enabled as necessary. And once this functionality is enabled, then customers who are using the search function on the website, they can, in addition to like filtering and everything, they also see this additional new button, Save Search, and they can use this button to save the results of their search. And let me just make the search a little bit interesting. So let's say all LEDs by Acme, and let me save that. So as a customer, I can actually give it some meaningful name. So let's say LEDs by Acme. And once I've added that, saved that search, then I can later actually see all my saved searches in the additional section that appears under my account on the customer profile on the storefront. And so here I can see all my saved searches, and I can easily return to any of them and repeat that search as necessary. But what is even more interesting here is that in addition to just saving the search, I can also enable notifications. And we've introduced two types of notifications. It's about one notification is about new products being added, for example, imported or created on the website that now fall under this criteria like LEDs by Acme, and also notifications about some out of stock items that fall under those search results when they return back to in-stock status. So let me save those notifications. Let me also go back to the configuration and just essentially to show you that these notifications can be configured by the admin of the application. So it's actually up to you whether you want to enable or disable those notifications. And while I was showing this, I also initiated like in the background, the process of processing and sending those notifications, because by default, it is being sent once a day. That schedule can be reconfigured. And also right now, I just triggered in the back office the manual process, and that was actually, sorry, problem with the demo because there has been no changes so far. But once, let's say, I import the products into the system, or if some of the products change their status to back in stock, for example, like here, and let me trigger that process again. So once that process is triggered, the customer users who saved that search as saved search in their account, they will receive the notification, as I've said, daily. It runs by default, but it can also be, the schedule can be changed. And the email would include the newly added items. So these were the products that have been previously disabled and not visible on the website storefront. And so once I've enabled them, they have been added to this saved search results of LEDs by Acme. And also the products, these three products that have been previously out of stock, and now they are marked as back in stock, they essentially, and they also fall under the criteria of LEDs by Acme, they also have been included into these notifications. So the customer can open any of these individual products, or they can just essentially use the link to see all the products in that saved search result, and they can add these products to their shopping list and complete the purchase once they are notified that those products are now available. So as I've said, this feature comes with its own configuration, so you can control which type of notifications you would allow the customers to subscribe for, notifications about new products and notification about inventory status changes. Also, we've included on our documentation portal, we've included quite an extensive documentation about how this feature should be configured, and that the implementation of this functionality, it utilizes quite unique capabilities of the Elasticsearch, which is the search technology that we use to run search in OroCommerce. So we provided detailed configuration instructions to the sysadmins who are, let's say, hosting their OroCommerce application themselves, so they can follow those instructions to configure the Elasticsearch cluster properly to provide a good level of performance, and as well as to make sure that those notifications are processed fast without any delays. And there is also a short review of how this functionality can be used on the storefront, and that you can kind of use this page to base your recommendations, your announcements to your customers about this new functionality if you decide to make it available to them on the storefront end. So I see there are some questions coming. So one of the questions is, can this saved search be shared by users of the same company? So the default implementation, it's actually in the default implementation, it's individual. So every user is saving those search results for themselves and by themselves. But I'm pretty sure it can be quite easily customized, because essentially saved search is same entity as any other entity in the application. It should be possible to reconfigure ACL, possibly with minor customization, just to kind of make sure that other users who have necessary permissions within the same customer company can access saved search results of one another if they desire to do so. Then there is a question about whether back in stock notification is available only in the search feature if the customer has a saved search result. Yes. So these back in stock notifications that I showed you now, they are related to the saved search functionality. This release does not include any other types of back in stock notifications. If required, those can be added as a customization. And then there is one more question about the configuration levels. So with saved search, there is only a configuration available on the global organization level, whether or not to make it available. If you would like that configuration to be exposed on the level of customer or customer group, that would be a minor customization to expose those settings. And we will make sure to actually look into this and make those configurations available on those additional levels in the next release, probably in one of the updates to 5.0 as well. Okay, so next item related to the search improvements is ability for the administrators of the applications to do boosting, so-called boosting of product attributes and the search results. And kind of to illustrate this, let me just go back to the storefront and let me just repeat this search for a 6VC. And I've chosen this because this is essentially a text or a search term that is present in two fields. So here you see it's present in this SKU field of the first product, and it's also present in the name of the second product. And as you can see, this first product is shown first in the search results, right? And the reason why it's shown first is because the in the back office for the SKU attribute, I've configured that global search boosting value is higher than the global search boost value for the name. And these numbers, like 500 or 10, these are just arbitrary numbers. The exact values do not matter much. What matters is their relation to one another. So for example, if I go and modify that to be actually the opposite of what it was before. So now the SKU has lower value than the product name. And if I repeat the search on the storefront and again, as you can see now, the search results, the positioning of the products and the search results changed. So essentially now, because the product name has higher global boost value, now this search term that is present in the product name of this first product, it made this product kind of more important for the search engines. So it shows it first on the search results page. Okay, so one more thing, kind of to wrap up the storefront and improvements in 5.0 release is that this year we've added, sorry, not this year, past year. So past year in this 5.0 LTS release, for this 5.0 LTS release, we've added the support for right to left languages. And this support is available both on the storefront and in the back office of the application. So this support was implemented on the level of the default storefront and back office themes. And it's actually up to the developer of the custom theme, for example, if they want to support that or not. But in case if the theme supports that, then it becomes just a matter of a single checkbox in configuration that the admins of the application can control on the level of specific localizations of the application. So once I enable this right to left mode, and let me just refresh the page. So as you can see now, essentially the application, and I use this localization both in the back office and in the storefront, and that it modifies its behavior, which becomes more usable for the right to left languages like Hebrew, Arabic, and a few others. And again, so this is kind of just for the demo purposes, and I modified this for the English localization, but we already have live customers who are using this ability to support right to left languages on their websites. So this is essentially some screenshots from the customer portal of one of our customers in Israel, who is using that already live for their customers. Okay, kind of to change conversation a little bit. So the integrations. So as you know, kind of every year we're making a number of either introducing a number of new integrations to OroCommerce or improving existing ones, improving the ability to integrate Oro overall. So this year, one of the integrations that we've introduced, and it's included the 5.0 release, is integration with Microsoft 365. And it includes actually a few things. One of them is ability to sign in into the back office of the application with a Microsoft 365 account. Then we've also added ability to synchronize calendar and tasks between Office 365 and Oro calendars. As you know, probably kind of nowadays the desktop Outlook applications are used less and less, and even the desktop versions, they rely heavily on Office 365 nowadays. So essentially, Office 365 became, I believe, almost like the default tool that is now used by large organizations to by their sales and marketing teams to schedule meetings with the customers, to schedule presentations for customer communication and so on. And once that integration is enabled, then essentially all information that is added here on the calendar in the Office 365, as well as in the calendar on the Oro side, it's being synchronized. And you can synchronize, make that synchronization kind of one-way sync, two-way sync, and same applies to tasks, by the way. So essentially any tasks created in Outlook of Office 365 will be synchronized to Oro and vice versa. And that configuration can be modified from the OroCommerce back office side. And we've included a kind of detailed instruction on how to make changes to that configuration, kind of what direction the synchronization should work with, how to resolve conflicts, if any conflicts between the changes made by the user on Microsoft side and on Oro side appear. And also, essentially, you can enable only one of these integrations or all of them or none as necessary. Please also note that in order to enable this integration, you are required to make some additional configuration steps on the Microsoft side as well. So we've included detailed step-by-step instruction with screenshots and instructions on how to enable this integration on the Microsoft side in the Azure Application Manager. To wrap up the topic with integrations, I just want to remind everyone that OroCommerce comes with fully functional web services API, and we have quite detailed documentation both for the users of the API, which are normally developers of third-party applications who need to integrate with Oro, as well as we have very detailed documentation for the developers who need to customize Oro API to make some changes to the date formats or to what data should or should not be exposed through Oro API. And just as a reminder to everyone, the APIs are available both for the storefront and back office parts of the application. So the back office API can be used for example, building integrations between OroCommerce and ERPs, accounting systems, and so on. And Storefront API, this is essentially something that can be used to build a fully headless storefront for OroCommerce. So kind of just a reminder to everyone that yes, OroCommerce can be used in the headless mode, which I believe a lot of people still keep asking about. So yes, it can be used. Essentially, it's as easy as enabling the Storefront API and then any compatible Storefront application that essentially needs to present data on behalf of the customer that need to allow customers to place orders will be able to utilize that API. So here, even for example, this API is available on our public demo instance. You can check what is available out of the box. So this is the back office integration API, and this is the Storefront API that can be used to build mobile application or can be used to operate OroCommerce in headless mode. And a reminder to everyone also that any custom entities, any new fields that you're adding in the application, they will be made available through the API automatically. And also as an API developer, you can control that on the level of simple configuration files, which fields to expose, which fields and entities to hide through the API. Also, obviously, we are changing the version number of OroCommerce, right? So it's OroCommerce 5.0, and it also means that this release comes with a number of technology stack upgrades. So the most noticeable ones are Symfony upgrade to Symfony 5.4 long-term support version release, and to PHP 8.1. So these are the technologies that are used and supported by OroCommerce. Also, we've updated the versions of the databases that we support. So now it became PostgreSQL 14 and MySQL 8. And also now the minimal version of Node.js required to build front-end assets and so on is Node.js 16, which is the current long-term support version of Node.js. Okay, so
Michael, do you want to answer some questions?
Yes, so let me take a quick look. I see there are questions coming both through the questions and chat. So there is a question about whether there is an integration between emails of Outlook and OroCRM. So yes, that integration actually it was available for a long time and it never went away. So email synchronization can be configured with multiple email providers or email servers. And yes, you can synchronize your email inboxes or individual email inboxes of salespeople or marketing people or group boxes. You can synchronize them between Outlook and OroCRM or between any other email provider and OroCRM as well. So it all stays there in place. Then there is a question about the boosting field, whether it's an option in migrations for new custom fields. So I'm not sure if I understand the question correctly, but yes, if you're asking about whether you can control the value for the global search boost from the code when writing a migration in the code to a new version, yes, you can do that. You can control those values both from the UI and from the code as well. And then there is also a question about whether OroCommerce 5.0 supports marketplace bundles. So yes, marketplace bundles, once they are released, they will be compatible with latest and greatest OroCommerce versions. So the answer is yes, it will be supported.
Actually, the access to the bundles, I believe yesterday, if not today, our partners will get access to the bundles. These bundles can be obviously used on OroCommerce 5.0, and these bundles are obviously marketplace specific, right? But still, they're on top, a bit deployed on top of the OroCommerce application.
Okay, so let's see let's talk about the roadmap, what we are going to do this year. So based on the feedback from our customers and partners, we actually reviewed the items in our roadmap. We made some prioritization exercise, and we decided to include the following items. And again, this list is not comprehensive because it does not include everything that we are going to add for the next release, but here I'm just trying to highlight some of the kind of larger features. So one of them that was requested by multiple customers is ability to configure and manage so-called product kits or product bundles in OroCommerce application. And this is something that we are going to work on to allow commerce managers who are managing the products in the system to combine multiple products into a single sellable bundle, to have full control over which of the options included in this bundle are required or optional. And it will also come with obviously optimized user experience on the storefront, and that would allow customer user to find the bundles in the search alongside with individual products, to be able to configure actually which options of this bundle they want to purchase on the product page, add that configuration to the shopping list, and go all the way through the checkout process, through the order submission and completion with that bundle configured as essentially as a whole unit presented by a single line item in the shopping list and order to be able to purchase it. Then one another feature that we are going to add in the next release is ability to introduce additional configuration or restrictions on the level of different organization types. And this is something that we hear more and more because more and more customers are using and relying heavily on our multi-org capabilities in OroCommerce to either run to allow their vendors to operate through their instance, or in case of marketplace applications to allow individual sellers to sell on the marketplace controlled by them. So this functionality can be used by that, and it allows in a specific project to actually limit maximum level of permissions that administrators within that type of an organization may use. For example, if we are talking about, let's say, marketplace scenario, then for the sellers, individual sellers on the marketplace, you can give them full administrative permissions within their organization, while at the same time ensuring that they will be having, even those admins with all permissions will be having access only to specific settings and system configuration, only to specific features based on the list of that you configured for them, and that they will be able to control roles, permissions, and access only to specific subset of data in the application, despite of being full admins within their individual organization. Then we are also going to continue our improvements to the search functionality in OroCommerce. So in the next version, we are going to introduce management of search terms within the Oro application UI itself, management of synonyms. So as you know, synonym management could be done or can be done currently in current versions by uploading a specific configuration file to Elasticsearch cluster, but we're going to expose that functionality in the application back office UI itself. We'll also allow add additional configuration to configure stop words. And probably one of the biggest and most exciting features in the search would be ability for the admins of the application to customize how the search result pages should look for the customers on the storefront, and what data they should include and how that data should be sorted, prioritized, or ranked for the users. So essentially, based on what kind of individual search query the customer is doing, based on who that customer user is, you will be able to essentially make or configure the search engine to show different results, or results that look differently for different customers, or differently based on what they searched for. You will also be able to prioritize, essentially to do merchandising, to control the way in which the products are displayed on the storefront, and you will be able to boost specific products to the top of search results, or to hide products as necessary, kind of down on subsequent search pages. And as I mentioned before, we're also releasing the set of marketplace extensions that can be used by Oro partners to simplify the initial setup and implementation for marketplace projects that they are doing. Then there is also one important announcement that I want to make in regards to the release scheduling. So this 5.0 LTS release, it was released at the end of January, as we kind of always used to make these releases in January every year. But that specific decision about January probably was not the best decision we made, because actually it coincides, like almost every year, it coincides with time with releases of PHP and Symfony. They usually publish their releases in November, and we want to give more time for our partners and customers to actually be able to test the release candidate that we are publishing in November, to test where the customizations work properly, to see if any of the infrastructure needs to be upgraded to support new versions of the technologies that are being upgraded. So starting this year and going forward, we are going to make or to publish our long-term support releases in March instead of January. So essentially, you will be able to get 2 more months of testing for the release candidates before each of the releases. So with that, that's actually wraps up the demo and announcement parts, and we are ready for the Q&A.
Let's see if there are some new questions. More questions here. We answered, I think. There's another question about the Microsoft 365 integration. Michael, do you see that at the end?
Yes, so context search and links, this is something that we are still working on. It will be available later in 5.0, and we will be able to demo it later if necessary.
Okay, let me see. I think we answered most of the questions. If we missed any questions, we will provide answers. Again, if you have any additional questions or any additional features that you want to discuss with us, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. That's gonna conclude our, let's see, we have some more messages here. Maybe we can answer that. Okay, let's see. That's basically conclude our our demo for today. We are just on the top of the hour. So I want to thank everybody for joining in, and hopefully you find it useful. And we're looking forward to working with all of you together in 2022. So thank you very much.